All right, folks, welcome back to yet another episode of a Fresh Juice, an indie game podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Tommy Fresh, and joined as always, it is
Maddie, juice. I'm in a
oh,
cave this episode. I'm in a cave.
we'll fix it in post. How's it going? We got a great episode for you all this week. We both were away for my bachelor party actually this past weekend, which was a ton of fun. But we got to play some great couch games, and we figured, you know what? We didn't have a lot of time to play something new. Let's tell the world about some great couch co-op games. If you got like a Switch, or maybe you have like a pretty cool setup on another console, and it's going to be a good time. Those games are, you're going to have to stay tuned, folks. You're going to have to stay tuned to find out. But what's going on? How you doing? What's new? I mean, obviously we spent like the last like 5 days together. So.
Yeah, you pretty much are up to date with everything I think I've been doing lately. I guess, for this week, looking forward to obviously Rings of Power coming back. It should be fun. And then right around the corner, we got football season. So excited about that as well. And nothing really new has been going on. Just been kind of recharging since the trip, relaxing a bit. Yesterday was my birthday. So, just kind of relaxed, chilled. I'm going out to dinner tonight with my parents. So should be good. And other than that, I mean, nothing new really. I had a good time in the Catskills. That's where we were, in case the listeners are trying to locate us. And did some hiking, some moderate hiking, saw some great views, and had some breast milk, and it was great. It was a good time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was just a ball of fun. No, it was a great weekend, and let's all wish Maddie a happy birthday together. Ready? Everybody together. Say it at your phone screens or however you listen to the podcast. Happy birthday, Maddie. Wow, that was great, guys. That was so good. I could just feel the energy. But it was a good weekend. The hike was funny. Matt got to experience his first All Trails moment. So All Trails, for those who don't know, is an app that will like list different trails that you can find. And it's not, I was going to say it's not always accurate. It's almost never accurate. There's always something off about these trails. I mean, it's a really great resource, right? You eventually find the trail. It's just, people, like this one said moderate. And then we were like, oh, it seemed pretty flat in the beginning. And then it got really steep. It's like, all right, this is maybe moderate. So we were getting the workout. And then like, it was all overgrown at the top, which I thought was cool. It felt like we were being kids again, just like going through the woods. We just couldn't find the view that apparently was supposed to be there. But that's all good. It's not the view, it's the journey, as I've always said. And, All Trails is interesting. And our phones are definitely listening to us because I got fed an All Trails meme with 300 likes right after on my phone. So that was a good time. We played video games, we played volleyball, ramp shot, a bunch of yard games and stuff like that. It was a good time. Drank some booze, relaxed. It was a good weekend away. I'm feeling good. Well, my body's feeling sore, but that is okay.
And that was like one of the coolest Airbnbs I think I've been at, and it had like a waterfall on the property, which was dope. And that also made me feel like kids again, just walking down like that creek, just like poking stuff with sticks, So that was cool. Yeah, it was definitely a cool spot, and better than I thought it was going to be. It's always hard to tell in the Airbnb pictures, like how great, it's going to be. Yeah. So that one I definitely want to go back to. So
it's like All Trails, like any of these like user-based kind of things, like, okay, maybe it's 4.5 stars. What does that really mean? Like, is it a bunch of 5 stars and then a bunch of 1 stars, like to bring it down to the 4.5? You never know. So, no, it was awesome. It was really cool. So hopefully get back up there at some point. But we do have a lot of news this week. First of all, Fresh Juice Discord, please check it out. It's in the show notes. You get to hang out. You get to get crazy. You get wild. You get nuts. Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah. And that's also a great spot to do the listener questions for later in the episode, which You guys are awesome. You just post those questions in there on the days you know we're recording. We don't even have to say anything, I feel like, anymore. I checked this morning. I was like, oh my God, there's like already 3 questions in here. This is great. So you guys are on the ball
We got them
with that.
trained. We got
Yeah.
these juice heads trained, man. But in terms of other news, there was an Indie World showcase this morning, I guess, that
Yeah.
we were recording, which is like was a pleasant surprise. So a couple games were revealed. Um, the only one of these, well, I know Peglin. I have Peglin on my phone. This is
Oh,
all
okay.
stuff coming to Switch. And then I had heard of Europa. I guess the dev was a former Blizzard employee that quit Blizzard to just like finish this game. What's the deal with these games, Matt?
Yeah, honestly, the biggest highlight for me is this game called Morsels that I have never seen before. It's classified as an oddball top-down roguelike with a rotating roster of little monsters you switch between as you play multiple runs.
Oh,
This is coming to the Switch in February 2025. The art style looks super cool. It's kind of this like retro, like old school like TV with those like what scan lines, whatever you want to call it. Um, Kind of this like almost like this like 90s feel of sort of these like weird sort of cartoons, like maybe like late night adult swim,
yeah.
weird sort of stuff going on. And I don't know, it just seemed really like it had a lot of character, had a lot of flavor to it, and the gameplay just seemed super fluid. So this one is probably the one I'm like most excited for is this game Morsels. But definitely recommend you go check it out. It'll be in the show notes as well. Like I'll link, a little tweet about it with a little bit of gameplay if you're interested. But I think this one would be a great one for the show. Come February.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to bookmark that. That looks amazing. And yeah, it almost maybe this is like a new art style where we kind of get that whatever the scan lines thing like Animal Well had that similar vibe. This is obviously different artistically, but
Yeah,
yeah. And then this Neva game looks pretty.
yeah,
I mean, absolutely looks gorgeous. Which should be pretty interesting. But Peglin's a fun game. Peglin is a very fun game. If you've never played it, you are basically playing pachinko. It's roguelike pachinko, where
yeah,
the different things that you're shooting have different abilities and stuff like that. And it's a addicting game, I will say. So it's very cool. It's coming to Switch. Right before Switch 2, just in time. And they like to keep it relevant. And then, yeah, this Europa game does look absolutely stunning as well. I'm very interested
yeah,
to see
yeah. Oh,
what.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's kind of got like this like Breath of the Wild art style, third person sort of adventure sort of stuff going on with like puzzles, which is always an interest for me. And I know for that Neva game, that's also I think it's from the creators of Gree or Gris, which
Oh
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
had a big cult following and also was like a beautiful game. So excited to check that one out as well at some point. Just because it just looks like a sight to see. And then I also did list some other games, not in our show notes, Doc, but just some other ones. Like Pico Park 2 is coming to Switch. It's actually a timed exclusive coming later today,
Oh wow.
um, as well as Peglin. Peglin's coming timed exclusive on the Switch, releasing later today. But I guess it's already available on mobile from what you've played. So I guess it's a console exclusive temporarily on the Switch.
Must be.
Um, but yeah, Pico Park 2 is a really fun kind of, I played it on Steam before. It's just like this silly little kind of party game where you're like you can play with like up to 8 players. It's kind of like a platformer. You're trying to like complete these puzzles while like all of your characters are sort of like tied together, basically. So that's fun. And then another one that jumped out as well is this game called Date Everything. This is not a game I will be playing. It's one of those dating sim games, but it's a dating sim game where you can date everything. So, like, if you want to date a lamp, like you can date a lamp in the game, and like the lamp is like a personified, it's been personified as like a character with like lights on it. If you want to date the game itself, they have like a chat dialogue thing that you can date. If you want to, even like they have like you can date like your crippling depression as well, which is like a character. His name is Doug or something. It's like ridiculous. So it was kind of funny. Like it was almost like a parody on dating games, but like it's an actual dating game called Date Everything. So just noted that down just because it looked ridiculous. So yeah, if you're into dating sims, that one seems like, if you're really desperate, you don't have, maybe the dating sims, like, it's just not working out for you and you just want to try to date anything, you should date everything.
Why the
So,
heck not, right?
yeah.
Listen, I believe that you should always date everything. Actually. No, that does seem cool. I mean, probably not my type of game either, but I do got to say the biggest exciting thing announced here is Baltro free update coming to the Switch today, I believe, and then probably everything else eventually later, where it's featuring The Witcher 3, Vampire Survivors, and Among Us, and Dave the Diver, I believe, as well, where I guess it's like just cosmetic update. I was going to play the video, but I stopped earlier, and then I was going to play it again. I was like, oh, well, I don't want the sound coming through. But it looks like you can have all of those themes as your cards.
Yeah, I guess so. Like it's called, like, I think it's called the Friends of Jimbo update. And
Mhm.
in this article here, it says it adds a mix of new cards and card appearances. So I don't know if
Yeah.
it's new Jokers or what's going on there, but I guess it's a free update. Yeah, coming later today to the Switch, and then apparently to all platforms probably shortly. But they also did tease. There's like a Joker at the end that just says like that will do for now. So
Oh,
I imagine
yeah.
there's more collaborations coming, which is really cool. Like I didn't really think like Baltro was gonna go like in this direction with like these crossovers, but it makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know if we covered it last week, but Baltro also is collabing in other games now.
Hmm.
Um, well, first of all, Wild Frost had already had a Balatro collab, but now I think you can play Balatro in Dave the Diver.
Oh, really?
Like you can go to like a shop or something like that and play the Balatro on like something, which is like crazy. It was
Yeah.
either that or a different game, but that came out last week. But hey, listen, I mean, Balatro is like the perfect kind of game to do this because it's so unique within its own thing, and it's a poker thing, so it's easy to apply this to anything and also apply a lot of other things to this. I mean, just looking at the cards that for The Witcher, right? You got Geralt as the king, and then the bard is the jack and stuff like that. And I forget what the name of the
Yennefer, I
Yennefer.
think?
Yennefer is
Yeah, yeah.
the queen there. So yeah, I'm interested. I'll be playing that later tonight on the Switch, I guess, just see what it's all about. But I'm pretty excited. Now we gotta talk about some couch games, Matt.
Yeah, we do.
We
Yeah,
gotta
we
talk
do.
about some couch games. First couch game that we honestly have had a lot of fun with for a very long time, and it is Boomerang Foo. Now, we cannot recommend this game enough. This is developed and published by Cranky Watermelon, or Watermelon, depending on who you're talking to. And it was originally released in August 13th, 2020. And really, was it that? I thought it might have been earlier, but yeah. So originally released in August 13th, 2020. It's $14.99 on all consoles and Steam. I think we play this primarily on Switch.
Yeah.
But this is just a freaking fun party game, right? You can have up to, is it 8 players or six? I guess on Switch you can have like 8 players, right?
Yeah, I think it's 8. Yeah.
Yeah, with all the Joy Cons and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's pretty simple game. You're running around. You go into this like arena. Everybody's a different fruit or vegetable or coffee or something like that. A different animal, not animal, food type character, whatever. And you
Yeah.
have a boomerang, and you can slice with the boomerang, and you can throw the boomerang. And it always comes back to you. And if it hits something, you're gonna have to like hold the throw button to like call it back to you. And then there's also just power ups and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the main game mode is kind of, both these games are going to have the similar main game mode where you play these rounds, and every time there's a last man standing, it counts up the different kills, and then whoever gets the most amount of or the specific amount of kills first over the X amount of rounds will win. And it's just fun. It's just a great time. It's like has a lot of excellent moments. Now, the one thing about this game, the only negative thing I will say about Boomerang Fu in the gameplay is sometimes people get goaded like power up combos.
Yeah.
And like there's a power up where you throw your boomerang, and then at the end of how far it was going to go before it comes back, it explodes into like 5 different boomerangs that like shoot out, right? Very, very cool. Now you can combine that with explosive boomerangs. So you throw that, and then it blows up into 5 other boomerangs, and they all blow up. So it
Yeah.
like creates this like huge area where it's like almost impossible to dodge or something like that. So, that's the only negative thing. But there's also like, I guess some bad combos. Like you can also go in and change any of the stuff in the like modifiers and stuff like that. But overall, it's just like a great game, a lot of fun. Only like 3 buttons that you got to worry about, and once people get the hang of it, they're just like kind of locked in. So
Yeah.
yeah, what do you think about Boomerang Fu yourself? Because I think we played originally together, but I've definitely played a lot with like my friend Pat and Will and Dan a lot mostly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. It's like exactly what I look for when it comes to like a couch party game where like it's not super complicated, like even, I played with Maria before, and she's someone that, she's not gaming all the time or whatever, and she picked it up pretty quickly, and she loves playing Boomerang Fu. It's also kind of got this like cute aesthetic to it, right? So like it's just very like pleasing on the eye. And yeah, I love not only like the different characters, and they have like the way that you actually kill the characters, it changes visually, right? Like
Hmm.
if I always play the milk carton, so whenever the milk carton dies, it just kind of cuts in half and spills out. Like it's got all this little character there. But I also love like the map design too. Every time you're going into a different map, I can't tell you how many times I've died to the map
Yeah.
because someone hits a switch and it like shifts over like a giant block of something, and I get squished, or like I just accidentally run into like some water and end up dying. So I really like the map design in the game too, and I think that's like super important for just making sure it doesn't seem too like stale, right? The next game we'll talk about, I feel like it has great map design, but it's not as varied as like Boomerang Fu. Like, it's like almost every single level that you're going into in Boomerang Fu is like different. So I really enjoy that about it, and yeah, it creates these like great moments of like especially when it's like 1v1, like we're kind of watching right now on the YouTube version of the show where like everyone's watching, and it's just like what's going to happen, because it's kind of got like these almost like wonky physics sometimes, right, where you're like sliding on ice, or like even just like the way you're throwing your boomerang, it can bounce off stuff. So it can create these like really exciting moments where everyone's like, oh, like you kind of think maybe someone's pinned up against the wall, like they don't really have a shot. Maybe they don't have their boomerang with them, but then they figure out something. They kick. I think you can kick without your boomerang too, or
Yeah,
something like that.
punch or something like
Yeah,
that.
punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, there's also those power ups you can get. One of them that I always think is really OP I guess a lot of stuff is related to that like multi boomerang thing you were
Yeah.
mentioning, but that plus like the telekinesis where like you can control where you're putting your boomerang, but that you have like 5 or 6 of them, you can just like move all over the map and just like slice and dice. That's always pretty OP as well. But yeah, it just has such great interactions and moments, and the matches are really quick, and it's also like one of those games where like yeah, if you're playing with 8 people, like the swings that can happen are huge, right? Like
Hmm.
maybe you get 5 kills in a game, and all of a sudden like you're way ahead of everybody else, but then someone else the next game maybe kills everybody, right? Like you don't know. And so yeah, I just really enjoy like those moments in the game. And then what was the other thing I was going to bring up with Boomerang Fu? Oh, one of the power ups is disguise,
Yeah.
where once you stop moving, you just turn into like a random object, like a box or a tree or something like that. That's on the in the world, and that's great when you're playing with so many people because if you get that early, you can just sit there and people will forget about you. And then all of a sudden, like I know our cousin Dan likes to do that, Danny Tugs.
They talks.
He does that quite a bit, and like it's always funny. Like it's this is never one of those games to me where sometimes party games, couch party games, like there's certain ones where like eventually you're gonna get frustrated. You're like, this is like, this is just ridiculous. Like if something keeps happening, this one has such a great balance where like I never get frustrated playing either of these games that we're going to talk about today. But especially like Boomerang Fu, it's always just a blast. So I love it. It's honestly something I need to pick up. I really do wish it had online, at least for like Steam. I think it would just be fun to be like, hey guys, like let's all hop on and do some foo.
Yeah.
But it is only local co-op, which is also great. That's obviously what we're talking about today is these couch party games. So not knocking it for that in any way, but it's so much fun. Now, do you know, are there like expansions for this or DLCs for this?
Yeah, so I believe they I don't know if it's really like there's DLC and I'll have to just double check, but because I know there was like a grilling one or whatever. I don't know if it's like new
Okay.
characters or what. I don't think I've bought it yet, but let me see. Let me see here.
Check it out.
We're gonna check
We're
it
doing the
out.
live research, folks.
The Grilling Spree update, which
Oh,
let's see. Let's view DLC. There's the Just Desserts update. It came out this year, actually.
oh,
That was a DLC. So includes 21 new maps, 4 exclusive characters. Chocolate, jello, grapes, and salt and pepper. Not exactly a dessert. Not to
speak for yourself. All right.
not to be you know, inflammatory here. And then that's only $5 on the Switch. So like, what is? I want to know what the Grilling Spree was.
The grilling spree. 21 new maps is pretty exciting as well because that's like, like I said, the map variety is great. I mean, if you're watching the YouTube stream, you can pretty much see almost every time they're playing here, there's different sort of mechanics on each map. This one's got a moat around it, which I don't know if I've actually played this one. This might be one of the newer ones, perhaps, but um,
Oh, maybe.
adding 21 new maps is just even if there weren't any new characters, which there's no difference by the way between the characters. I don't know if we mentioned that. Like it's just aesthetic for aesthetic reasons. So the maps, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you got an update on Just Grilling
Yeah, I
or
guess this was
film update?
an update. I guess it was in a like a regular update. It wasn't even DLC, but it added unlockable outfits. This was in 2021, so I must have already had this because it has added 6 new arenas, hot sauce, which I know I have that, and burger as playable characters. So it was a big
Oh,
fix, but I guess the others were just DLC. Which I should probably look at because that seems like a pretty good DLC. So this game is like a
yeah.
ton of fun though. Aesthetics wise, you touched on it, super cutesy, but like honestly, just perfect for this to be pretty accessible for everybody. The soundtrack, I mean, is awesome. It's kind of this like boom, just like doing that the whole time, and like you would think it would get annoying, and maybe like after you like accidentally leave it on for a while, it will, but it doesn't really. Like while you're
Yeah.
playing, you're just like it gets you in the mode for freaking slicing and dicing. And
Yeah.
it's a banging game. It really is. If you're hanging out with a bunch of buds, check out this game. It's just a really good time.
Yeah, I remember the first time I played it when you showed it to me, and like before I knew about the game, you're like, "Oh, Boomerang Fu." I'm like, "What the hell is Boomerang Fu?" And then we play it, man, and yeah, this thing's something special. I would love to see this as like a permanent booth at PAX. I just
Yeah.
think that's like it's like such a great game for just introducing people to just couch party games and just showing. Like, it's like one of the top tier ones in my opinion. Like I just have so much fun playing Boomerang Fu. So yeah, maybe I am seeing here that it does have remote play together over Steam, which I
Oh.
know is kind of their way to do online. So who knows? Maybe with the juice heads, we can maybe Boomerang Fu will go on like a bundle sale, and we can
Yeah,
play with the juice heads or something like that. That'd be fun.
that'd be pretty sick. Now, the next game we're going to talk about, we talked about before. We discovered this at PAX East this past year, 2024, and it is honestly, it is has been so much fun. It is Astro Duel 2. This is going to be like go down as one of my favorite couch co-op, not co-op games, couch like play party game of all time. I truly believe it. It is just so much fun. You get to do it's like such a addicting combination of two styles of kind of classic video game. This kind of platformer brawler like Super Smash Bros or whatever, or even at times it feels like Joust, right?
Yeah.
And then Asteroids, which, if anybody knows, Asteroids, just you're just a ship flying around in the kind of space graphic or physics and shooting asteroids, but now you're shooting each other, and they do the elegant thing of just creating. You would think this game could have had like 20 plus different kinds of ships to choose, but they just did 3 different ships, and they created the perfect rock paper scissors of like the balancing of like which ship is good to the other ship with like obviously a lot of variance in terms of items you find, and then also the regular what do you call it, the brawling point of the game. Like you can get an edge there as well if like perhaps your ship is maybe a little bit weak into the other ship, but it's not like a complete 100% to 0 matchup, right? It's probably like 60-40 for everybody. So like you got 3 ships. You got the drill, the Phoenix, and the heavy. So the Phoenix, they each have one special move. Phoenix just does a little reflecting shield. It's very annoying. Matt is very, very good at playing with the Phoenix, and basically it reflects anything for like whatever, however long the duration is. It's probably like a half a second or something like that.
Yeah,
so you got to time
cool.
it, and it does have to recharge and stuff like that. And then there's the drill. The drill is kind of more your fast aggro ship. Its special is it drills at someone, and like in that drill moment you're kind of invincible, and you're trying to do damage and hopefully kill your opponent. And then you have the heavy. The heavy sends like a big like laser ball that could either kill someone, or you press the same button again and you'll teleport to where that is. So that's basically it. Those are the 3 ships, but then you get to fly around. There's all these different kinds of items and really cool maps. I mean, I know you said that maybe the only problem with this is like currently, and this might be something that we didn't even look in the modifiers, to be honest, is that like once you choose a region, you're locked to that region for the whole match. So this is just like Boomerang Fu, where you play in rounds on the map. Last man standing, that's when it ends, and you go to the next round, and however many kills people had, that's how many points they get, yada yada yada. That is, you're kind of in one region. So like if you're looking at the one now, this one's like just in space, I believe. Mm-hmm. So you can choose different map areas where it's either just space, just gravity, so like when you're doing the brawling stuff, or you can do one that like has a gravity section in the middle, as well as going out into the sides to do the space battles or whatever. So it would be nice if you can get it completely random.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. Though that could exist, we just don't know, to be honest. But other than that, that's my only complaint about the game. But like the different regions are very, very cool, and you have, and like one of my favorite things about the game also is like when you're playing, it has the Super Smash Bros. Effect, where however much you play the game is how much you unlock things, right? X amount of matches will unlock something random, or you have to discover something, and you get these different regions that have like different kinds of different kinds of things going
That is the game there.
on. And it is it's a great time, and like there's these moments, like we were playing with my buddy Kurt over the weekend, and like once he got it, once he understood, like we were kind of like in trouble because he was just
Yeah,
like he was just like really sniping us. But just
yeah.
such a good game, so simple, whatever. Pixel graphics, if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. But this game really makes it so seamless, and even the brawling mechanics are great. You just have a laser sword, but you can pick up guns and stuff like that. It's just a blast, man.
Yeah, no, it's this game is awesome. I mean, just like the variety that you get with like each match. Yeah, whether it's like maybe you're ending the match like not in your ship. Maybe you're ending the match floating in space, not in your ship too, because that's something like, that can happen. Like, it's such a good time. There's definitely things about the game that I hope that they eventually add. I would love to see uh we talked about this, like it would be awesome to play with like 12 players, right, on like
Oh
a
yeah.
giant kind of map. Like that would be awesome. But I think the player count's still really good for what you can play. You can do up to 6. And then yeah, kind of having that variety, kind of what I was talking about with like the maps with like Boomerang Fu, is that like I feel like the maps have a lot more influence in like the outcomes of each round.
Hmm.
But it does, there is influence in like Astro Duel 2 with the maps, like especially if you're playing like some of them, like there's that solar flare map where like a solar flare goes off every now and then and will just destroy your ship, or if you're not in your ship and you're out in space, it'll just kill you. So that sort of stuff can happen, but I would love to see, yeah, more, maybe just like a little bit more variety with like maybe certain maps are like just in, you're not in your ship at all. Like, and it would kind of like rotate between those within that kind of like planet that you choose. Because yeah, I think you're right. I think when you choose a planet that's like, let's just say it's just, in orbit or whatever, you're just going to be playing in your ships until the end of that kind of run. So it would be nice to kind of get a little bit more variety with that. But this game is just, it's just so much fun because of the different, different than Boomerang Fu, because all those characters are the same, right? It's really relying on the power ups, but because you can choose the different ships here, I mean, I obviously have a lot of fun playing with the Phoenix class with that like reflector shield, because ch- people don't really expect it, like they can get very aggressive. You started getting wise to it too,
Yeah.
so you would just kind of like be like, I'm not going to drill into him anymore because he's just going to deflect it. But then I had to start trying to play around that. I'm like, all right, well, how am I going to get Tom now? If like he's not going to let me deflect, I have to like try some other stuff. So it's cool because the strategies kind of change, as you play, and then you also get into that, you know, uh, that kind of situation where I know, like, your friend Kurt, he started playing with the Phoenix as well. So then I had to start going like, okay, like he can deflect my shots. I haven't played against someone that can deflect my shots yet. So then I need to like redo my strategy. And he got me a good amount of times with it as well. So yeah, there's just so many great things about the game. I hope that they're at PAX next year. I would love to just like see if they have any updates to the game or just play it again at PAX. Like just playing it in a group is awesome. um, I also think just like aesthetically, I know it's like pixel art, but I love the way this game looks. Like the depth of each like map, you can even see right now, like it just looks beautiful. You
Hmm.
kind of got like these highlighted colors, and then you also have like these dark tone colors kind of in the background. It's kind of got this nice contrast going on. And you never really like I never really like lose my ship or anything like that. Um, I would love to see them add some sort of disguise thing. Maybe there's a bonus where you like disguise yourself as like a power up, maybe, or something like that. I don't know, something like that could be cool. There's definitely ideas for this game because this one hasn't, it came out in March, so it's still, it's not like Boomerang Fu where they've had like a few updates or more time for updates. So I'm hoping they add more to this game. But yeah, I love Astro Duel 2. I'm excited. I hope they do Astro Duel 3. I think
Yeah.
that could be something really cool, right? Because the evolution, right, from what we know about the first Astro Duel is the first one was only ships. This one is ships and pilots as well. So you kind of have those two little areas of combat. So I'd love to see them just keep building on that. That's like the biggest thing with this game for me is like I love playing it, but like I'm just like almost every time I play it, I'm like, oh man, like they should do this and they should do that. Like there's so much potential here with this game. And I'm really glad, showing it to people like this weekend, for the first time. Like I think everybody like fell in love with it too.
Oh
Like it
yeah.
was just it's just something that like once you get it, you're like, oh, this is something special. So I just hope that there's enough people out there that also recognize that for this game, so that it can have the opportunity to do more updates and maybe even come out with a sequel. But yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah, it was fun just seeing like our friend Bags, who actually sent us a question this week, um, kind of like lock into do the gamer mode, kind of just lean up and just get
Yeah.
ready. And then my buddy Will, who the first time he played, we played in a different situation, so he wasn't ready to experience Astro Duel 2, but he came around on it big time, and that was just like a ton of fun. So just a
Yeah.
banger of a game. And honestly, these two games, I don't think you can go wrong. As we get older, right, and like you don't get a lot of opportunities to hang out with buds and stuff like that. Like, if you're just gonna try to find something that you can all just do, whether it's like just sitting down on the couch, maybe watching something, or even just playing a game, like you want it to be really good, right? So like these two, I think, are gonna give you a lot of a great experience where like people are gonna want to run it back to play it again when they lose, right? That's like the biggest thing, right? You're like, God, I know I could do better, right? I want to play again. And
Yeah.
both these games really do such a good job of doing that. But we're not really
Yeah.
going to give them a rating because, I mean, I think we pretty much are saying these are certified fresh juices. So like
Yeah.
we definitely recommend them if you're looking for a party game, right? That's basically it. And these are good ones, folks. These are some spicy
Some of the
games.
best. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of better ones that are indie as
Yeah.
well. Like I really can't think of like better ones that I would easily put above these two.
No, yeah. I mean, the next closest would be Spider Hack for me,
Yeah.
which I do like quite a bit, and like maybe Plunder Panic, but we didn't even get a chance to play them because we were playing these ones so much, right?
Yeah.
So that just kind of goes to show how awesome these games are. So, yeah,
Yeah.
great job to both Cranky Watermelon and Rusty Moyer / Wild Rooster. Just bangers. Hopefully, and yeah, Astro Duel 3 or just a big content update would be freaking sick. So, Rusty, if you're out there, we love you. Please, we'll do anything. But, but that's gonna do it for those games. But we do have some listener questions next week. I think we're gonna play Crypt Custodian, a brand new Zelda like that should be coming out. I think this week, and we'll be reviewing that one actually. Now we do have listener questions. You can submit these listener questions on the Fresh Juice Discord, of course.
Do it.
First one comes from K Moore. Do you have a video game moment that scarred you for life?
Whew, that scarred me for life. I can't go outside anymore because of this video game moment. Let me think. I mean, I guess scarring would be something bad that happened,
Well,
or would it be something? Okay, all right.
yeah, well, not
Um,
bad. Like maybe like left like a really bad impression, like a scary moment or something like that. That's how I'm taking it, or just like anything related to like really affected you
Let me
in a
see. I
more
mean,
negative way.
yeah, in a more negative way. I mean, you want to take this one first? I'm gonna have to think about this for a second.
Yeah.
If you know, yeah.
I remember the first time on Game Boy Color, I was playing Pokemon Blue, as I would be known to do quite often back in those days in the late '90s. And I remember the first time I played for a long time that day and forgot to save, and the game shut off, and I lost all my progress.
Oh my
It
god.
scarred my life so much that I like double save anytime I'm like double checking things. Still to this day, I'm just like, I can never let this happen again because that
Yeah.
was just devastating. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gotta be that really because it was brutal. Like, I don't play like horror games because like I know that could be like something, but This was like an external thing. Like God
Yeah.
damn it. So
Yeah. I think for me, it would probably be a long time ago, back when I used to have a gamer tag, Freakazoid 7. That was my first gamer tag
oh yeah.
on Xbox. And I was playing Gears of War 3, and they had um, there was like a developer only like weapon skin you could get, and it looked super cool. It was like transparent, but it was like pixelated, so it just kind of looked like you were like blurry, like when you were holding like the guns and stuff. And I found, I don't know, some video saying of how you could get them, and when you weren't a developer and you had to like load your Xbox profile on your computer and like change a few of these settings, and then you could like load it back into your Xbox, and then you would have it. And I did, and I at that time, like I had played so much like Gears 3 and just Gears of War in general. I maybe, I don't even know how many hours I had in the game. Then one day I logged on and I was banned, and I was just like, oh, like I just like it was the first time that really had ever happened, and I was just
Oh,
like, what am I gonna do? Like I tried to like plead with them. I was like, I didn't cheat. I just had weapon skins. But I learned my lesson there. I just made another gamer tag. Life moved on. It really wasn't like a big deal, but it was just from now on. I'm just like, man, if there's ever like I'm not doing anything that is like kind of like sketchy, like anything that's like gonna make like give me a little bit of a red flag with that sort of stuff. Anything that's gonna edit, I'm gonna edit this. Oh, it's just a little, everyone on the internet's like, oh, it's you'll be fine, like you trust that guy on Reddit that says like he hasn't been banned, but then all of a sudden you get banned. So that's what happened with me. Yeah. I also had another account banned because I streamed another Gears of War game early.
oh God.
And
Wait, I
then
thought you said
yeah,
you learned your lesson.
well, that was different. I didn't. Yeah, I guess I didn't learn my lesson. But that was like years later. But that was like an account that I didn't really care that got banned. But regardless, yeah. So I don't like when that happens when I get my account banned. So
Well,
yeah,
I mean, some people would just quit, right?
yeah.
Not you. You don't quit. You don't stop.
I don't quit.
It does remind me of a different one that's like actually in game. Was the first Fire Emblem that they released in English for the Game Boy Advance. Love that game and the sequel to it. But the first one I played so much of. And if you don't know how Fire Emblem works, it's a tactical RPG, right? So you're grid based or whatever, but you get these characters throughout the story, right? And you have to choose your character to send into battle. And, sometimes you just you just like build up certain characters, right? You're just like, oh, this character is awesome. I want it to be on my team forever. It's like Pokemon or whatever. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't care that Beedrill sucks. I want Beedrill to be the best, right?
yeah.
But like, there was a character in the game called Hawkeye. Big, buff, no shirt dude with a giant scar on his eye, I believe. It's just like would carry a giant axe. Super cool. Pretty OP, to be honest, like when you first get him, but like the game scales pretty quickly, so if you don't level him up, yada yada yada, he's not strong enough. So in Fire Emblem, if a character on your team dies in battle, you don't get them for the rest of the story. They're dead.
Yeah.
They have permadeath unless your main character dies, and then you have to restart that level, I believe, and then whatever. So I had Hawkeye. I had built him up so much, and then I made a tactical error, like the last 2 chapters before like the finale, that like I didn't even think, and he died, like right away.
My God.
And I was like, no, that was my whole strategy for the whole game, and I couldn't beat the end of the game, so I had to restart. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Fire Emblem though, man, great game. Great game. Not a huge fan of all the characters being in Smash, but the ones on Game Boy Advance, those rocked. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Next question comes from Capolo, who asks, which personality in the video game industry would you like to bring on as the first guest to the podcast for an interview?
I mean, if we got to choose anyone,
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, fresh juice, I'll be on there." I don't know. I actually, because I listen to occasionally. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts these days, but kind of funny. They have Greg Miller over there, who is just like he's been through so much in like the gaming industry, and also just like on the podcasting journalism side. I would love to have him on just to pick his brain, just to be like, hey, what do you like how we're starting in spare bedrooms. That's where you started. Like, can we talk about that? Like, what did you do to like really take it to the next level? Just really like pick his brain for that stuff. But if I had to choose like someone that I think we could get on the show, I think it would be great to have Rusty from Astro Duel 2 on the
That'd
show.
be sick.
And just pick his brain about maybe some future updates for Astro Duel and just tell him how much we love it. He was like a great interview at PAX, so I think he would totally be down to be on the show if we asked. So yeah, those are my choices.
Yeah.
Tom, what are you thinking?
Local thunk would be huge.
Oh yeah.
Local thunk would be really huge. Um, and then I mean, it would be a blast to talk to Northern Lion. To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't know how that conversation would go. I'd almost be afraid to. Right? I interview a lot of people on my other podcasts, and I don't really. I mean, like I'll get a little bit nervous for some, but like not really. Like it's pretty much like casual. But for whatever reason, I think like because I truly think Northern Lion is like on a different echelon of like brains. Like I don't just not so much that he's like so smart, but like he just works differently than a lot of people. So it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I gotta be on my A game. So yeah, like someone like that, local thunk, Northern Lion, geez, even I forget the name of him. The guy who oh god, I'm blanking on the name of the Metroidvania from like 10 plus years ago. The indie Metroidvania. Oh shit.
Super Meat Boy, Fez. No.
No, apparently that
He's a
guy's the worst.
developer. Yeah.
Yeah. It was geez.
Hollow Knight. I'm
Indie Metroidvania.
I'm gonna just list out some here. The Messenger, uh, Axiom
Axiom
Verge, Dead
Verge. Axiom
Cells,
Verge.
Axiom
Yeah.
Verge.
I
Okay.
believe that was a solo dev. I'd love to interview him because that was like before indie games really could pop like they do now. Right.
Yeah.
And that
Thomas Happ.
yeah, Hap. Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
What's happening, Thomas? Come on the show. So someone like that. That'd be a pretty cool interview.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd
And
be awesome.
finally, Bags asks, what is your favorite moment purchasing a game or console? For example, like a midnight release or getting a game/console as a kid.
Oh man, I two come to mind here. One is another Gears of War related one, but me and Bags and another one of our buddies. I think it was just three of us, maybe it was four of us. We went to go get Gears of War 3 at midnight, and we were talking about this a little bit over the weekend. I was just like, I miss going to like midnight releases. Everything's digital now. And like it's great for convenience, but it's also just like it was just something fun to do, fun to look forward to. Trying to plan, okay, when should we get there? Make sure we get in line early enough. And we all got like the epic version, the most expensive version. I think it was like $150 of Gears 3. So we got like a big statue. I remember Bags in his first car has like a picture in the trunk of like all of our stuff like lined up there. It was just awesome. I still have the box too. And that was just a great time. The other one is on Christmas is when I got the Wii. Is that like it was one of those like oh, what's that behind the tree or whatever, like, oh, like you think like you start moving on with your day, and it's just all of a sudden just like, oh, there's like another gift, and I like take it out. I'm like, it's a freaking Wii. Like, dude, it was awesome. Like getting the Wii and then contributing to the what is that? At one point it was like the highest selling console ever. I think PlayStation 4 or 5 passed it, but
The
or
Switch
maybe the
passed it.
Switch, the
Yeah.
Switch too. Yeah, but that was cool contributing to that, and just getting like a console that was like so different than anything
Oh
else I
yeah.
had played. That was awesome. So those are the two that kind of come to mind for me. Um, but I mean, there's obviously so many good moments as well. But what about you, Tom? Anything pop into your mind for this one?
The original DS,
Oh yeah,
because like I think a lot of people got it for Christmas that year. You probably included, and then we were all like hanging out and be like, "Let's picto chat," and then
yeah,
we just be like picto chatting each other, and like it was just like a lot like the way. And this is why Nintendo is truly so great. They just create these new experiences in video games that like initially you'll be like, I don't understand what they're doing here, and then you're just like, oh, okay, this is
yeah.
just so much fun. And the DS, I truly think was one of those. I mean, without the DS, we don't have something like the Switch, to be honest, right? And the DS was just revolutionary. Two screens. Why do you need two screens? And then they were like, oh, we'll design games to use two screens. And then you're like, oh, how will some games use that? Like, what would Castlevania do? And then you play Castlevania and you have to draw runes to trap bosses in the game. You're like, this is insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the DS was just like so hype. I mean, a lot of the handheld stuff was like pretty hype for me, but the original DS and even the DSi, I felt the DSi had like super
Uh,
slick design. Um,
yeah.
like it just was. I thought it had a better design than like the 3DS, to be honest, like aesthetically. Um, but yeah, the
Yeah.
original DS was like super hype.
Oh yeah, that was a great one. I that was another one I was debating on saying too, because yeah, that was. I remember being in my garage with bags, just playing, you know, just doing yeah, like, stupid stuff, Picto Chat or even
Yeah,
like was it the Mario Kart? You could your friends could play it,
I think
even if
so.
you
Yeah,
just owned it or something like that. Like that cool system as well, which is like still alive today with like some Switch games too, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, DS, and I always wanted like the DSi. I was always just like that thing looks so cool,
it was
and then it just
slick.
like yeah, then like eventually 3DS came out, and I was like, oh, I'll just get that one. Even though the 3D stuff was like a gimmick or
Yeah, it
whatever.
was stupid.
Yeah, it was dumb for sure. But yeah, I still have my 3DS, so probably should play it soon. I feel like,
Why
get a
not
little
pick it back
Zelda
up?
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Bags was saying over the weekend he was playing Ocarina of Time on the DS not too
Oh
long
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Good times, man. But that's gonna take it to us. Oh my god, take us to the end of the show. It's been a long weekend, folks. My arm, I can't even lift it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but before the end of the show, we have to take you down to a little room we like to call the rec room, where we recommend something that perhaps isn't in any game, or it is. Like what I'm going to recommend. I'm recommending Knock on the Coffin Lid. It is a new deck builder roguelike, very Slay the Spire, but also brings a lot more RPG and kind of, I guess, adventure elements to it, which is pretty neat. Played a little bit last night, but I was passing out. But like from what I played so far, I played through like the first two bosses. Very very cool. Not quite Slay the Spire, but I definitely would check it out if you're into the deck builder roguelikes.
Yeah. Were you playing that on PC or mobile
PC,
or
PC.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice, nice. Um, yeah, and I'm wrecking the it's called Cool Tunes. So it's something we use this weekend, which I've been using occasionally. I got it as a gift from my sister-in-law last year, and I always just forget I have it, to be honest. But basically, for those of you familiar with like the older kind of igloo kind of coolers that sort of have like this button that you can hit and you kind of slide the top either forward or backwards and get in the cooler. It's that plus a Bluetooth speaker. It's got these two speakers on the front. And it's just like, I don't know, just I think it worked pretty well this weekend. We've got drinks in there, we've got music playing, and it's pretty cool, cool tunes. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just something that I just think is a really cool combo, and I didn't even know existed, to be honest. So yeah, I'm shout out to Cool Tunes. That's KOOL for cool. Go check it out if you're looking for a new cooler and or a new Bluetooth speaker. It's both in one. There you go. Sponsored by Igloo.
Shout out Cool Tunes. And that's going to do it, folks. You can continue to find me on Twitter at FreshBudsPod. I have another podcast called Fresh and Buds where I interview people from the Flesh and Blood community, a trading card game that is indie, after all. And you can continue to find us on Fresh Juice Pod, or at Fresh Juice Pod on all socials. And please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And Matthew, where can they find you?
Find me at Matty Gorm, Gorm, on all the socials. Been away from YouTube and the Twitch world for a bit, so gonna hopefully get back into that later in the week. And hopefully I'll see you pop into a stream or on a video or something like that. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Tommy, another great ep in the books. Under an hour, this one. We flew by this one, baby. We got this one out. Yeah.
We're flying. We're soaring. We're flying. Well, we can wait for 5 minutes. You want to wait for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
To make
Yeah, let's just hang out. Yeah, listeners can do the rest of the episode for us.
Yeah.
So feel free to say your rec room now.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. All right. Stay juicy, freshy. Bye-bye.